Are we live? Yeah, it all started in 2021 when he watched his first executive outcomes video.
Hey, what are you doing?
He just kept talking with this, I don't know, South African accent. I would ask him if he could take out the trash and he would just go, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Look at the vibes, all right? Look at the aesthetic. You got a built-in optics riser.
You don't even have night vision.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. I got iron sights beneath the optics.
He just went on and kept repeating that dreaded phrase.
Carry handle gang, right?
He'll move on eventually. He always does.
So, what do you think is next after this whole retro carry handle thing is over?
I don't know. He's been saying something about GWatt over and over. I don't know what that is.
Welcome back to the agency. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to overpay for antiquated equipment. Gentlemen, today we're talking about why Zoomers got into retro AR-15s. It wasn't long ago when the fixed carry handle AR was abundant and the flat top was the new hot thing that everybody wanted.
Boom, boom. Come back in. Boom, boom. Come back in.
Just going through some old forums would tell you how people used to complain about the hide over bore. People even experimented with chopping those carry handles off and bolting or welding Picatinny rail on top so they could get that optic a little bit lower. As time went on, the flat top would replace the fixed carry handle, not only on the shelves of gun stores everywhere, but in the hearts and minds of the people. Something changed. What was it? It would be a crime to talk about this and not mention admin's role in the whole retro AR-15 game. In the early days, he went by Executive Outcomes and did a lot of Blood Diamond Car 15 or Larry Vickers inspired stuff. When Garantham took him in as his son, they did that retro rifle video, and that's what really blew up, I think, the entire retro market to the point where even normies were starting to chant carry handle gang when they didn't even know what a Car 15 was. But outside of YouTubers making it look cool, why did those videos resonate so well with the audience? The magic word is nostalgia. Nostalgia for a time we didn't live in. People say growing up watching action movies or playing video games is what caused this nostalgia, but I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. In fact, I think the desire to replicate the past is something we see even outside of the gun community. We see that in fashion, gaming, and music. What was cringe has become cool again, and that's certainly true when talking about the 80s and 90s. As Gen Z gets older and starts to have families of their own, we start to see our parents in a little bit of a different light and we start relating to them more. Instead of looking at them as eternally old, we see them as, start to recognize that they were once young too, and some of us are the age our parents were when they had us. So we put ourselves in their shoes and wonder, what would it have been like to live in the mid-90s? You see girls dressing like their moms and boys saying, man, I wish I would have bought a full auto before 1986. Nostalgia is a hell of a drug, but it's hard not to look at past generations and say, I wish I had what they had. You look at the way culture has declined and how bad everything is, and you just want to go back. I think retro guns are a way people pay homage to their recent ancestors. We look at the unmatched aura of the Secret Service during Reagan's shooting and we compare that to the attempt on Trump, and you can just see the difference, right? You got a cool guy with a mustache and an Uzi versus Shane Gillis with a stock Glock. It speaks for itself. I think people kind of want to return to the ways of old as a coping mechanism almost. 15 years ago, if you were caught wearing 80s or 90s style fashion, it would have been pretty embarrassing for you. And if you were taking a shooting class in like 2014 and you brought something like this out, you probably would have been laughed out of the class. I think gaming has had an impact on people's taste as well, specifically games like Call of Duty Black Ops that deal in that kind of Cold War era. I think that there's a lot of people walking around today that aren't gun guys that if you went up to them and said, hey, do you know what the FAMAS or the Galil are? And they will know, even though they're not really gun guys. So basically, what it all boils down to is everything's gay now, and we just want to go back to M81 and M16s. Before I talk about the gun, I have to shout out a very special, he's not a sponsor, but he gave me some free stands. So I want to shout him out real quick. His name is Hammy of Hammy 3D Prints. He makes a whole bunch of 3D printed stuff that nobody else makes. He's got stuff on his website that he will probably never sell because it's so obscure. But if you have that obscure item in your site, I wish I had a stand for this very strange handgun from 1976. He's probably got one. So he made me a AR-15 stand that we've got this gun propped up on. One of the best stands you'll ever have, guaranteed. Go over and check out his website. He also will do some custom stuff. If you have something a little bit different that you need done, he will do that for you. So a really huge shout out for him and big thanks for him sending out these stands. He got me a AR stand, 1911, and a Glock one in exchange for this little shout out. So go check out my good friend Hammy and go buy some stands, all right? He just went full time, so you better go drop your credit card information in the description below. So as far as this gun goes, this is kind of inspired by like long range reconnaissance patrol / MACV SOG photos and whatnot, basically like the high-speed guys of the 60s and 70s. If you're wondering why there's tape all over the gun and why it's this color, spray paint wasn't really a thing. Guys in Vietnam would tape their gun to break up the silhouette of the rifle, right? There's that whole, oh, if you got a black rifle, it's gonna stick out kind of stuff that everybody says. And it is true. So they would take the gun and tape it up like so with a little bit of a lighter tape. That little darker 100-mile-per-hour tape is more of an 80s thing. So I taped this gun up and I contacted a good friend of mine by the name of Ben. He's a reenactor, he's a historian, and in all aspects, a weapons expert. And I said, hey, how does this look? It's like a long-range reconnaissance patrol, LRP, MACV SAW kind of build, and he gave me the stamp of approval. So if you guys have issues, type them down below and I'll tell Ben that he screwed me over on this, all right? No, he's a good guy, but I wanted to do something inspired by that kind of stuff, so I did. So talking up front, I taped the muzzle device around because according to the Recondo manual, I think it was like 73, I want to say manual, they had advised soldiers to tape their muzzle device to keep debris out of it. So that's what I did. Of course, if you shoot the gun, it will just bloom out like a cartoon gun, but that was the purpose for having that tape around the muzzle device. As we move back, we've got paracord tied to the front side post. There's pictures of guys in Vietnam with different kinds of slings, right? You see the GP sling a lot, but you'll also see guys with just string, just paracord for a sling. So that's what I've gone ahead and done here. And then of course we got the tape to break up the silhouette. On the other side of the gun, I put a little tape here to the whole meme was that when this happens, it was supposed to like dampen the sound. It didn't really dampen it, but it was supposed to, according to the manual, dampen the sound a little bit. You know, if you're walking around the jungle and that thing flies open, it's supposed to dampen the sound, even though that's clearly not happening here. Maybe I need to put more tape. And then of course the stock is just wrapped up, and that's pretty much it. The only thing that I'm missing here would be taping on a cleaning rod to the side of the gun. Often guys would assemble it and have it already ready to go, taped to the gun, so if they needed to use it, they would rip that thing off and then clear a malfunction and then get back into the fight. So this is my annual M16A1 video. I do one every year. We did one in 2022, 23, now in 24. So, you know, there'll be another one next year if I'm still allowed to make videos on this platform. But that's pretty much all there is to it. This is a Colt upper on an H&R lower with some USGI parts thrown in the mix. And that's pretty much all I got. I got into this stuff when everybody else did, all right? I'm not gonna come out here and say that I got into the retro stuff before everybody else. I watched a couple executive outcomes videos and I was sold, right? Mix that in with playing the original Black Hawk Down game and I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to do a Black Hawk Down build. And that's how I kind of got into the whole thing. I have fallen in love with the retro guns and I don't think it's going anywhere. I don't think that love, for me personally, isn't going anywhere. And many of you might feel the same way. And we got some more. We're gonna tease here a little Colt, not Colt, but a little 727 clone coming out soon, hopefully in the next few weeks. So that should be a lot of fun. I hope you guys stick around with me so you can check that video out. And if you want to support the channel in any way, you can go down and join the Patreon. You can, I don't even think we have a subscribe star, so you can't do that. So Patreon's our only option at this time. You can like this video, subscribe, and go watch another video of mine. We also have new merchandise. If you've ever gone through the McDonald's drive-thru and you asked for, I don't know, basic necessities, ketchup, your drink, or the correct meal, and you weren't given that, this shirt has kind of inspired that feeling within, that anger you feel when you say, how can these people demand a living wage when you can't even put the sauce, the right sauce in the bag? So go check out the new merch, and that's all I got for you. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.
What is this, guat?
G-Watt.
Oh.
G-Watt.
Yeah, I would have just read guat. Like yacht.
Ask him to take it down. He goes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do
Your face
that.
will be so good. Yeah, yeah.
I don't want.
It's because it's Leonardo DiCaprio in Blood Diamond. He's like, you're a dead man, Danny. And he's like, yeah, yeah.